So I just have some questions I'd like to talk to you about. You're 56 years old.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been incarcerated?
21 years.
Okay. Um, the victims in this case were sisters, is that correct?
No, ma'am. It's a stepdaughter.
No, they were sisters to each other.
Yes, ma'am.
As a matter of fact, they were twins, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And you were in a relationship with their mother.
Yes, ma'am.
You were her boyfriend. You all weren't actually married, is that correct?
We were married, ma'am.
You weren't that married.
Yes, ma'am.
How were the girls when you began your relationship with your mom?
At the time, I think they were 10 years old, ma'am.
Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am.
The reason that I ask is the information in the record indicates that when this crime was brought to light, the girls were 12, but they indicated that the abuse began when they were around 5 years old.
No, ma'am.
Well,
I wasn't around them at that time, ma'am.
How long had you and your mom been dating before you got married?
2 years.
Okay, so you were around them 2 years before you actually got married, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And how long had you been married before you were charged with this crime?
It was a year after that, ma'am.
So can you tell us what you did with the girls, to the girls, and why did you do that?
I had oral sex with them. And the reason why I did it, I was in the wrong state of mind, that I thought I was doing the right thing. But now
Let's stop right there. Why? How in the world would you think that was the right thing? What was right about that?
it was just a state of mind I was in. And didn't know what I was doing at the time. I was just fonded with the idea of doing it.
Well, but I mean,
I'm not the same person anymore. I've taken it being
started out by saying did it because you thought it was the right thing. I'm trying to get inside that thought process. What did you think was right about it?
By teaching them the correct way of doing things.
Okay, and why do you feel like you could do that? Because were there any doors? Did the bathroom door lock?
No, ma'am.
And would you often go into the bathroom when they were taking showers?
Yes, ma'am.
And you would sit on the toilet while they were taking, not to use it, but you would use it as a seat while they were taking a shower?
Yes, ma'am.
And sometimes you would, quote, assist them in putting on bras?
Yes, ma'am.
Now they have a mother. Why did you feel like you needed to be involved in anything having to do with them in that way?
I just really couldn't answer that, ma'am. I don't know. It was just, I was a bad person.
Were you using or abusing drugs or alcohol?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever used or abused alcohol or drugs?
I didn't abuse it. I used to drink. Yes, ma'am.
What did you drink?
Ma'am,
What was your drink of choice?
beer
How often would you drink?
on the weekends.
How much would you drink on the weekends?
It depends on when me and the wife would used to go out. There was times I've overdrank my by getting too drunk.
And there is such a thing as a weekend alcoholic. You know, you go all week, you go to work, function, and then on the weekends, you kind of, drink to the point of intoxication. Was that you?
No, ma'am, not every weekend.
Where would your mother be when you were committing these crimes against the girls?
The other room.
And why do you think they didn't say anything to their mother about it?
From my understanding, their mother did know about it.
What do you mean from your understanding? You either know or you didn't know that she knew about it.
I didn't know she knew about it, but she did know about it after I was arrested and was told about it.
You took sex offender treatment?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Many phases?
Yes, ma'am.
How many phases?
3.
All right. Tell us about sex offender treatment. What if anything, did you learn about yourself as a result of completing sex offender treatment?
You have a high risk, moderate risk, and a low risk.
Okay, that's okay. My question is, what did you learn about yourself?
Oh, myself. I apologize, ma'am. I learned that no means no for one. And when there is a child that's being abused, she shouldn't be abused. She shouldn't be hurted. I apologize sincerely for everything I've done because there's a ripple effect in everything that happens.
Dr. Lankley. Most people are not attracted to children sexually. Can we agree on that?
Yes, ma'am.
Most men don't see young girls in a sexual way. Why do you think you view young girls in a sexual way? What did you learn about yourself from the sex offender program that you participated in?
Okay, I apologize for this, ma'am. I'm just, it's bringing back a lot of more on a daily basis that I've been doing. I've been feeling hurt about what I had done, but I did learn a lot on how not to do with fooling with young children. A woman's privacy is supposed to be her privacy. I learned that not only is it the privacy of her own is not to be around or knowing the right that she's not have to be the fault of it, of her being attracted to. It's very hard to speak on this behalf because it really hurts how much I've hurt these girls and the family and the community around the family, You know, it really does. I think on a daily basis. Sometimes I can't even watch TV and just think about what's going on, how I hurt this young girl, the trust in her and everything. I was supposed to have trust. She's supposed to have trust in me, and it really hurts knowing that she don't have no trust. I pray that she is doing good and has a family and and forgiveness in all this.
Ask you this. You keep saying the girl, but both girls say, I think your activity with one girl went further than with the other girl, but you did some of the same things to both girls, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell me about the victim impact training that you took.
This was the first one that has been inducted to DOC programming here at DOC. I was one of the first ones that's been here at DCI, and I'm the one that I just graduated from it. I learned that not only there's a victim, which in the victim there is numerous victims. There's more than one victim. When you hurt a victim is being hurt, you're not only hurting that one victim, you're hurting the family of it, the community of it, and the surrounding areas of everything, of everybody.
So how do you think what you did has affected those two young ladies?
It hurt them. I know it had to. I couldn't even imagine the hurt that they have, and it really wouldn't surprise me, because I know I'll never ever have the opportunity to probably see them face to face or speak to them ever again. But I truly would like to tell them how much I hurt them, that I don't blame them of the effect that's really been gone. Not only them two, but the families, the community that I was located in. I know I messed everything up. But my sorrow is from the deepest of my heart, that I'm very, very sorry of what happened. And I don't blame them one bit.
Well, I will tell you, they're fearful. The thought of your being released causes them a great deal of anxiety. And hopefully you can understand that. Tell us about your transition plan when you are released. Where do you plan to live? What kind of work do you plan to do?
I'm planning on, if I get this opportunity to be released, excuse me, if I get released, I would like to go to Apostle House out of New Orleans. It's a religious place, and he has a place for me to stay and a place and work for me.
What kind of work?
There's all types out there, ma'am. I'm trying. I would like to go out there and make a big difference in the lifestyle I'm doing. I want to be a.
Okay, I thought for a moment.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you acquire any vocational skills over the last 20 years?
Yes, ma'am. I'm a certified. I'm a welder, mechanic. I've did some mechanic work, electrician work, on multiple tasks on a lot of things. Right now, I'm an administration only, and I take care of a lot of responsibility of the paperwork of here at DCI on Compound 5 that I work at. I work 7 days a week. My work ethic will show that I'm not afraid of working of any type. Whatever is needed to be done, it was asked to be done. I'll do my 100% chance of best of doing it for you.
Where did this crime occur? Where were y'all living?
In Calcasieu Parish, which was around DeQuincy,
Okay.
by the Louisiana state, Texas line.
And your plan is to go to New Orleans?
Yes, ma'am. If I'm having this opportunity. Yes, ma'am.
And I do see that you've taken a lot of faith-based programs.
Yes,
Why did you take them, and why were they important to you?
I've changed my lifestyle of thinking, and I put God's hand in a lot of it. And the reason why I wanted to go through the faith-based program is to teach more about not only about the religions, but the way people should be treated and respect of everything that goes around them. You have to walk away from a lot of evil spirits that's around. And the good Lord always says excuse me, but it's like turn the other cheek. When something's evil coming toward you, walk away, because He has other plans for you. And I believe that sincerely in all my heart, that He believes that I'm a changed person. I'm not the same man I was 25 years ago, ma'am.
Where's your family?
Ma'am,
Where's your family?
I have not heard from none of my family since I've been incarcerated. My mother and father has passed away. My half sister, they tried to get in contact with her. She spoke once or twice, and then my half brother's been spoken to, but they've never responded back. That's here at DCI. They had tried to get in contact with them.
Well, one of the things that we look at is if a person has family support, because that's important for their successful transition. And you don't seem to have a relationship with your family.
Well, I don't know where they've been since I've been incarcerated with the hurricanes and everything that's been around since I've been locked up. I've tried writing letters to them and everything, but I've never got a response back from them. So I don't even know if that's the same addresses or not, since my father's passed away.
And tell me about the Apostles' house.
It's a house that's sort of like a transition house that helps inmates that needs a place to stay. We have to go to church every Sunday. We will be going to studies at least once every Saturday, and going to work during the week.
Well, how long can a person stay there?
As long as I'm on parole, that's what I was told, ma'am. If needed.
All right. Thank you, Warden Beckham.
Yes, ma'am. Brian doesn't cause any trouble here. He is a Pride member. His last write-up was in 2017, and I think y'all have it in the record. That was when he tried to kiss the female officer we had. But that was in 2017, his last write-up. So that particular one concerned me, but it's been a while. And he doesn't give us much trouble.
Well, let's talk about that, because all they gave us was 30 C or D.
D, yes.
So what happened? Tell us what happened.
You asking me or him? I'm sorry.
You.
Okay. Let's see. Let me read it to you. While reviewing camera footage, Lieutenant Colonel Wesley, at that particular time, witnessed Saltzman attempt to kiss Cadet Williams twice on that date. When they interviewed him, he admitted to attempting to kiss her and had discussed different things, such as they liked each other. Later during the investigation, she said she did not kiss him. She actually had been hugged him but didn't kiss him. That's pretty much it.
Saltzman, you want to add anything to that?
to what he has just spoke about.
Yeah.
It was being down all this time, the years I was down, and we felt attracted to each other. That's all it was. There was nothing aroused about it. It was just attraction for someone to speak to, more or less.
All
That's
right.
it.
Okay. Is that person, she was a cadet?
Yes, ma'am.
Was she disciplined in any way?
I don't have that in his record. I wouldn't have that in his record, so
She was like, oh,
I don't know. She probably, I would imagine she's no longer working here and probably dismissed it after that, for sure, though. I mean, I can guarantee that.
Because it kind of sounds like it was not unwelcome contact on her part.
It's really hard to tell from that particular write-up. It sounds like he attempted to kiss her several times. She did not allow it to take place. However, she did admit that she had hugged him. The investigation Cadet Williams admitted that she did actually hug the offender, but did not kiss him. So it's hard to say just by reading the write-up. Apparently there was some type of hug involved, but she did not want the kissing that tries. That's all I can get out of it.
But she would have known that even the hugging was not appropriate for a cadet.
Correct. Yes, ma'am. So she would have been dismissed for sure.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
I have a couple of questions. First off, when we first started, Mr. Salisbury, the Jackson action, you said it was only for 3 years, but even on your offense date, it says it went on from 12/20/94 to 8/31/2001. And then in your own statement, after you stopped denying allegations, you admitted that it had been going on for the last 7 years. So, I mean, get that straight. I mean, did it happen for 3 years, or did it just start when they were 5 years old?
I wasn't around them when they were 5 years old, sir. Like I said, we didn't the ex-wife, we didn't actually get married until I want to say it was in 97, I think it was when we got married. 98, something like that, sir.
That's confusing that you would say that when it wasn't 7 years. Let me ask you this. Also, you put locks on the cabinets and on the refrigerator?
No, sir. There was a lock that was placed on the pantry because we had animals inside the house, and the animals were breaking into the house. Breaking into the cabinet.
Okay, the caseworker reported went to the victim's residence and observed locks on the kitchen cabinets and the refrigerator. That is just the pantry?
Yes, sir. I don't recall anything on the ice box or refrigerator, whatever on the refrigerator, sir. That's the past, and it's hard for me to remember that type of situation because of my regret of doing and how I hurt them young girls and lost all their trust in them. This is still, it's
Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Saltzman, is there anything you'd like to say to the board before we vote?
yes, sir. I want to thank y'all for this opportunity to speak with y'all. Most of all, I would like to let the family know, the girls mostly, that I'm very truly, from the bottom of my heart, regret everything that has been done. The ripple effect, I know it's got to affect everybody in that community, especially her family. And them girls shouldn't deserve this type of pain, because I know the pain that I'm suffering with everything that I've done with all these years is never, I never forgot about it. And it hurts to even think. I can be watching TV and this, some of the stuff that I got to turn it away because it hurts me knowing that I did that to them girls.
Thank you, Mr. Saltzman.
Thank you, sir.
Mrs. Jackson.
Mr. Saltzman, you have
Yes,
accomplished,
ma'am.
you have accomplished some good things. You've taken some good programs, and I commend you for that. And you do seem to realize the gravity of the crime. That being said, I still have some concerns. First, you have very strong opposition from law enforcement, and the two girls are adamantly opposed to your early release. Apparently, there was a reduction because of the age of the children. You were charged with aggravated rape. There was a reduction of the charges to forcible rape, which was 25 years, and the expectation being that you would serve the 25 years. And so they are adamantly opposed to your being released early, and they're fearful. Also, I'm concerned about the inappropriate contact with the cadet in this case. That's troubling to me as well. So because of those facts, my vote today would be to deny.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Mr. Freeman.
I concur with Ms. Jackson. I also vote to deny.
Mr. Saltzman, my vote is likewise to deny. Good luck to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Gordon, thank you. It's 2:00. I believe we're finished today. Thank you for all your help.
Cockroach. Evil does exist. We just saw it. It's hard to believe what you're hearing. You sit here and you watch this and you say, did you just say that? Is this real? We find out that he's doing this to these little girls starting at the age of 5. I trust what Mr. Freeman has in the information. I trust what Ms. Jackson has. You can't trust a word that comes out of this roach's mouth. Sadly, I don't have documents that state those dates, although I do have an appeal that I'll go through, but it doesn't shed light on those details. But we have seen enough of these hearings to know that he was lying through his teeth. Like it makes a difference anyways. You listen to the words that he says. I had to listen to this twice. And take notes and so just say, are you kidding me? This monster, this roach, this sorry excuse is going to be free very soon. His full term date is September 2026. Today is September 2023. That's 3 years if he doesn't get paroled. They gave him a 25-year sentence, which is a lot for Louisiana. Congratulations. But the assistant DA doesn't show up to keep him locked up. There's no one representing the victims here. As it unravels, it gets worse and worse, if that's even possible. But you find out that he takes the locks off the bathroom doors, but he puts locks on the refrigerator, on the freezer, on the pantry. He's starving these kids. He's controlling whether they can eat or not eat. Can you imagine living in this house of terror? Hell. And he talks about God. You would think this wasn't so long ago. You would think that we'd be able to find something on the internet. Couldn't find anything. You would think that maybe people would find it to be so disgusting that a man had controlled what food. I mean, if you think about it, he took the lock off the bathroom door and put locks on the pantry, and he sits here and he says, we had an animal in the house. Yeah, the animal knows how to open up refrigerators and pantry doors. That's what he tells the parole board. You think we're all a bunch of idiots? It was so long ago. I'm so hurt by what happened with those girls. Never what I did, right? I'm so hurt by what happened. I can't remember about the locks. Everything that he said was just slime. He starts off, well, they were 10 years old. No, Miss Jackson says. It started when they were 5. Oh, that can't be. I only married her for 2 years. I was dating her for 1 year, and I was caught. Yeah, BS. What did he do to them? I had oral sex. Then he says, Miss Jackson wants to know, why did you think it was the right thing to do? Because he says, I thought it was the right thing to do. And you just can't make up his response. I was teaching them the correct way to do things. Keep in mind, this is 21 years later of incarceration. And at his parole hearing, he says, I thought it was the right thing to do. I was teaching them the right way to do things. You're teaching, you just can't make it up. And he's young. He's 56 at the time of this hearing. This hearing took place in 2021? No, 2022. He's 57 now. He'll be 60 when he gets out. I mean, gosh, that could be decades of doing this to other little girls. What did you learn in sex offender class? No means no. What? These are little girls. What do you no means no. There is a ripple effect. I learned not to fool with women. It's their privacy. First of all, sir, these are not women. These are little girls. These are little babies, 5 years old to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 to 10. Twin sisters. You could say words, mother. The mother knew, she didn't know, she did. You know, we don't have the information, right? But I almost feel like saying the mother should be sitting there beside him in prison, because how does that happen? How does she allow a man to put locks on her, to withhold food, to take the locks off the bathroom, to sit there and watch them shower? And then to a certain extent, you can't hide that for that many years. But I don't have any information on it. It's just my personal opinion. Then he keeps saying just one girl, the victim. He also referred to his victims as its. You're hurting it. When you do that to it's hurting the community. I don't know if you picked that up. And Miss Jackson said it was more than just one girl. And you know what that tells me? In his mind, because he said he had done worse with one of them, in his mind, that's actually there's only one victim. The other was not so bad. I mean, that's really what my takeaway was on that, how he kept referring to just one of his victims. The girl. And you know what else he kept saying, which we see quite often? He must have said this at least 3 times. I don't blame them. It wasn't their fault. I don't blame them one bit. And it's like, what? You don't blame the 5-year-old girls? You don't blame the little girls that you were doing this to? Why would those words cross your mind? Why would you say it unless he actually genuinely believes that it was their fault? No one's asking if you blame them. That doesn't come up. It doesn't cross a normal person's mind. Yet we see it all the time. They say that. And that's because they believe it. This thing has zero insight. Zero. There is no. This thing cannot be set back in the streets. Taking a 25-year deal because you don't want to go to trial for whatever reasons these DAs come up with is nuts. And you cannot believe it when they say, well, we don't want to put the victim on the stand. It's BS a lot of the time. There are times when we see victim parents and things that say, you know what, we took the plea deal. We didn't want to put them through this. But we have also seen victims say, I want to go to trial. And the DA says no. And this is something that I think should be up for debate, because if a life was taken, you would have a trial. It's like you're getting a life sentence or you're going to trial. And they don't care how many people have to take the stand and how much re-traumatization it causes. But when it comes to this, it's 25-year deal. Let's go. And that, again, in 25 years is a lot. They have on record, we'll go through it in a bit, it's just not much, but he gave a full confession, videotaped confession to a detective. He confessed to everything that he did. They had that on record. That was part of his appeal. He didn't want it to be admissible. They had a smoking gun. They had a flamethrower. You're telling me you couldn't take him to trial and convict him and send him away for life? Because he's going to be on the street. And then what? What? This is okay? You know, they didn't mention his risk score. Probably because there was a low risk score and they were embarrassed to say it. While he's in prison, he gets a write-up for doing that to a cadet. And I was kind of surprised. I like this warden a lot, but I was kind of surprised at his nonchalant kind of approach about it. You know, you would think it would be a big event that he would have that information down pat, but he was just kind of like, I don't know. He was hugging. I mean, I appreciate his honesty in the sense that he really didn't want to say anything that he didn't know for a fact. But you would think that a guard and I believe that they kissed. I mean, I believe they probably had a relationship going on and they were caught. You know, it wasn't the first time. They weren't caught the first time. And a cadet, meaning she was probably young, but there's no guarantee on that. How, you know, it's interesting these, anyways. I like that Mr. Freeman called him out on the locks, and he sent his response. It's hard for me to remember because of my regret. Oh, screw yourself. But this is why we do this. And you might not believe it if you didn't see it. But, you know, so here's the appeal. And sadly, they don't get into information. Usually there's like facts of the case where they talk about it. But in a nutshell, and I'll put the link in the description. And thank you, Richard. In a nutshell, what had happened is that they don't say who, but someone told Child Services what was happening. So Child Services interviewed him with a detective sitting in the interview room, and his Miranda rights were never read to him. And the detective never said a word during the interview, but after the interview, when there was a confession that was made, the detective then put him under arrest, read him his Miranda rights, and did a second interview that was recorded. So he appealed, saying that his rights were violated, and he said that his rights were violated because he gave an interview without being read his rights, and basically they go through the entire appeal of that and said, you know what, he's actually right. Even though it wasn't a police officer, it was a state agent because of the child service rep, and the judge overturned that confession and said that confession should not be allowed to be used. But the second confession that was made, even though there were references to the first confession in the second confession, was permitted. So, you know, it's quite interesting to see that process happen. And what I'm not sure about is, like, this wasn't for. What I'm not sure about is really what this was, like, because as far as I know, he took a plea deal. So I don't know when this appeal was made, or maybe this appeal was whether or not the evidence could have been submitted in terms of in advance to the plea deal period. I'm not quite sure, but other than that, they don't go through deep. They don't list dates of when crime started and when it didn't. But he will be walking the streets, Louisiana. He will be walking the streets. With that, I'll let you go.